Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says his country has sought peace since the start of the war, and Russia is the reason the war has dragged on. His comment comes ahead of a crucial visit to Saudi Arabia, where he will meet with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman before highly anticipated talks with the US, and that's to discuss a framework for ending the war. Now, his team of top Ukrainian officials will meet their US counterparts in Jeddah tomorrow for 3 days of talks. US President Donald Trump will not be present for the discussions, but he had signaled optimism for, quote, some very big things to emerge this week. A top US diplomat, Marco Rubio, will be leading the US delegation, which includes National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. The last meeting between both sides was a dramatic one at the Oval Office, you'll remember, which saw a minerals deal unsigned and a suspension of aid and foreign intelligence sharing with Ukraine. Time is ticking for Kyiv to secure a peace deal as it loses ground on the battlefront. Russian forces advanced further into the Kursk region, which Ukrainian troops seized last year, forcing them to flee or surrender. Well, let's go to Kyiv, where Ross Cullen is standing by to talk to us now. Ross, three parties involved in tomorrow's talks: the US, Ukraine, and the mediators, Saudi Arabia. What's on top of each of these countries' agenda during discussions?
Yeah, Joe, we could break it down, starting with the United States. They have said that they will be looking for a framework for an initial ceasefire and a possible peace agreement. The US also likely to want further discussions on that proposed minerals deal, as you mentioned, left unsigned after that White House meeting at the end of February. The US will also want to know if there are any concessions that Kyiv is willing to make overall in the search for the possible timetable of peace negotiations with Russia. In terms of Ukraine, they will certainly want to hear more from the United States about possible security guarantees, if that's going to be tied in with the minerals deal, which both sides now do seem to be ready to sign off on. The Ukrainian delegation, which will be led by Marco Rubio's counterpart here, Andrei Sybiha, the foreign minister, will also want to discuss a possible truce that has been outlined by President Zelenskyy and also Emmanuel Macron, the French president, a possible truce in the air and on the sea to lay the groundwork for what could be an eventual ceasefire. And Kyiv will want to try to reshape the narrative, Jill, and regain that initiative after President Zelenskyy was publicly berated by Vice President Vance and President Trump in the White House at the end of February. And finally, just on the hosts, Saudi Arabia, well, they have certainly been positioning themselves as a neutral ground. And we know that the United States and Russia met there last month. Now the United States and Ukraine are meeting there. And personally, the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman will be wanting to burnish his image on the world stage as a facilitator at a neutral location.
All right, thank you so much. Ross Cullen joining us live from the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv.